Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is the day we're going to get started on the serious stuff. Doesn't sound like it, but we're going to start with the air filter. That's at least part one today. And as far as I can understand and what it looks like, you gotta dig in pretty deep to get down to the air filter. So seat off, fairings off, maybe some things under the seat, battery ECU, and then of course the gas tank. So that is the plan. And then once we get that done, we will actually just keep going deeper after that. And we're going to go down to the side engine covers to replace the timing belts and the valve cylinder heads. So we'll take the covers off there so we can measure the valve clearances. So that's where we're going today. From what I understand, as far as the air filter goes, well, I've got the manual, which hopefully will be helpful. And they make it look so simple. Remove the seat, remove the fairings, remove the fuel tank, and voila, you can replace the air filter. But again, from what I understand, it's a little more complex than that. I think once you get the tank cover off, you have to remove the fuel pump cover, disconnect, of course, the pump fuel and power. Again, I think I mentioned the battery, the ECU, I think has to come out. Of course, the crossmember that holds the tank on, the tank, maybe even the voltage regulator. I don't know what else, but it should be exciting. So today's the day. Start digging in. We want to get this thing serviced and back up again. One thing I noticed, I think it came up on a forum and in the manual as well, they say there are air filters, plural. So I think the second one it refers to is this guy down here. Let's see if I can point to this. There's this little air filter on this timing belt cover on the horizontal cylinder head. I didn't read too much about it, but it looks like it'll come off with the cover, this side cover there. So once we get to there, we'll pull that off and probably re-clean and see what the manual has to say about that, if we need to oil it up or just clean it. I'm not sure at this point, but I will let you know. And I'm probably going to take a video of me pulling this thing all apart. If there's anything important relative, I'll point it out, but otherwise feel free to fast forward and we'll get down to the air filter to begin with. So here we go. Hang on. Thanks. Okay, I figured that this was probably a part where it's it's worth a little details. On mine, this Hyperstrada, I had to remove, not remove, but at least remove the screws that hold the rear shock reservoir and this outlet up so I could get under here. So we can just set that aside. Down under here, right here, where my finger is, there was a bolt. I think it was a 5mm hex that goes through and holds the back of the tank down. So that has to be removed. And then this fuel pump cover, which I will show you momentarily. I've already taken it off, but this fuel pump cover is there. There are 3 little nuts that hold it on. And then once you get that, kind of swing it out of the way. Amazingly, it's stuck now that I just set it there. And we pull it down. And there is a little bit of gas leaking from this. This is a fuel line. It is a quick connect. This is why I had the little blue towel here, my rag. So I'm going to dry this thing off again. This quick connect is the fuel line into the fuel pump. And really all you do, there's a couple of grooves on each side of the plastic, which it keeps dripping now that I'm messing around with it. You squeeze it with your fingers and pull it down. So that's all it takes to disconnect this fuel line here. So what that does is allow you to pull the tank up with the fuel pump attached to it. I'm assuming, I haven't done it yet. And then there is also, here, we're just going to leave that guy there, an electrical connector to the fuel pump. Obviously it probably runs the fuel pump. So you need to disconnect that as well. So all of this under here has to be taken care of before you can get the tank out. So the next thing I did, because the manual said the next thing to do, was just remove this breather tube. So easy enough. It just has a little clamp on it. You can clamp it, pull it off of here. So it's freed that up. The last thing I did, which the manual didn't call for, but I removed this, it's essentially, it's a mount where the tank attaches to the frame, but I went ahead and removed both of these, one on each side, just so I don't have to finagle the tank as much. I think the whole thing will just come up now. As you can see, it moves there. So, in theory, this comes out, but I'm not sure. Like I'd heard that you had to take the ECU off and even the battery out in the box and everything in here. So that may be the case, but I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say that I saw somebody remove the handlebars and take it off the front, and then somebody else remove this stuff in the back. So I'm probably going back here, and we'll see how that goes. So hang on, right back. So maybe I was a little mistaken, and I think others were too. So no handlebar removal, no ECU and battery removal. What I did is I unhooked these straps. There was a large one up here. It's now sitting behind here. A smaller one goes across here. And I just got a bungee cord, and just kind of strapped it up and pulled it up out of the way. So this actually, everything is connected. I did not disconnect anything here or really anything anywhere else up front. So I feel good that maybe with this pretty clear down here, we should be able to pull that out. So let's see if I can set this down real quick. Gives me some better leverage if I can get here, so I can lift it kind of right in the middle, so I can kind of wiggle hopefully this fuel pump end out, which seems to be coming. And I don't know about you, that looks like a gas tank. So hopefully that doesn't leak. There we are. Fuel disconnect there. So we're looking down as we were. Looking up a minute ago. And yeah, so now we've got to work on the air filter. From what I understand, well, I'd probably need to look to see exactly, but it looks like maybe this cross member would come off here. Not sure about these screws, but probably. From what I saw online is there's a screw, two screws up north, up front here under some electrical wiring in the frame, and once those are loose and this member's out, it's supposed to just pop up and you should be able to get at the air filter. I'm not sure, we'll see. I don't know if I'll have to move anything else out. What I do know though is, since I'm going to be going further than this, if I can get just that, I'll get just that. But eventually I'm going to have to pull this whole box off anyway to get at, oh, well, no I'm not. I take that back. I thought I was going to have to take that off to get at the cylinder head, but the cylinder head's back here. So I need to look before I talk. All right, so we'll see how this goes real quick. Okay, now, as I mentioned, I was going to have to take this little cross member off, which I've already done. I've already done most of this, but I wanted to point it out. So there's two bolts. I think they were maybe 6mm hex heads that hold this guy on. So pull this guy out. According to the manual, there are 4 zip ties, if it's stock, that need to come off. So, as you can see, there was one over here holding some wires together. There was one here, which I've left on there, and then on this part of the air box down here, there were 2, and just snip those off. Got that as well. Since this module part of the air box flips up, let's see, I wanted to get some of this out of the way, so I disconnected some of these wires to the voltage regulator. Sorry, my battery's running low, it's cold. I unplugged both of these just to make a little bit more room in here. And then what was a little tricky was getting these 5 screws out. So the ones out here obviously are easy to get to. They're Torx bits, but there's 2 up under here near where the voltage regulator mounts. And what I was able to do, it took me a little bit just to see which tool would work best. But I have sort of these sort of like screwdrivers, but they're long, skinny Torx, and I was able to get down in there at a slight angle on both of them and just carefully back them out. And once we do that, we remove all those guys, and let's see if I can set this somewhere visible again. Pops up from below. Move some wires out of the way, and just press this up and out, and there you have it. So from here, this piece just detaches, you put it back in like you found it, and it's got a little holder in here that you can unscrew out and put the new air filter in. So that's what we're going to do next, and I hope some of this stuff helps. And then if you just want to put it back together from here, reverse the process. But I'm going to change this guy, clean everything up, and then move on to the next thing, which is probably the timing belts. Or at least beginning the timing belts. We're going to do timing belts and valve clearances. So again, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, leave them below.